G'day humans, Chris Stead here. Today I'm reviewing the HTC Vive XR Elite, which you can see here in front of me. Now this is HTC's latest premium headset, and if you've watched my channel before or kept up to date with my content, you'll know that I previously reviewed the Cosmos Elite, the Pro 2, the Focus 3, and the Flow, so I'm pretty familiar with the HTC range. Now this one here looks like it's taking kind of the best of the enterprise Focus 3 headset and trying to make it a bit more consumer friendly by using the great Focus 3 controllers, but also taking a more streamlined design approach to that, to that similar Focus 3 design, but a bit more streamlined. Kind of taking its lead a little bit from the Flow, which is more of a kind of like smart glasses-like approach to VR that didn't quite hit the mark, in my opinion, anyway. So the XR Elite premium entry, is it any good? Let's dive into my HTC Vive XR Elite review, and as usual I want to focus on the price to begin with, because this thing costs $2,099 here in Australia. Now that puts it just underneath the Pro 2, the full kit Pro 2 and the Focus 3, but it's still a whopping amount. Like, that's a big investment. This is still very much a premium headset at the premium end of the range. By comparison, the MetaQuest 3 is going to be $830 here in Australia, and you can pick up a PlayStation 5 and a PSVR 2 for under that $1,700 mark. So you're looking at quite an investment here, and to be honest, that doesn't even include the PC that you may need to get in order to run it. So price, definitely a factor here. And I have been taken through the reason why it's so expensive by HTC, and I'm going to do a separate video on that, so make sure you subscribe. Try and catch that video, and I'll go into it in more detail there. But one of the positives with HTC that can't be, in my opinion anyway, not mentioned is that they don't sell your data. So they don't offset the cost of their headset. And so that's one of the things that does make these a bit more expensive. Obviously, something like MetaQuest, owned by Facebook, you can guarantee that all the data they're getting in terms of where your eye tracking goes and how you engage, that's going straight to advertisers. So at least with HTC, there's a bit more, I guess, of a consumer faith there, which I think doesn't necessarily or shouldn't be ignored. Anyway, so let's just jump in and have a look at the specifications on this. And with the VR headset, specifications don't always tell the full story, but let's go and have a look, because this thing's got a lot going on. Right, so on the lens front, you're looking at 1920 by 1920 pixels, so effectively 2K resolution. It's pancake lenses, so the old Fresnel lenses, they're kind of a thing of the past for HTC now, which is good, because pancake, they're better lenses in my opinion, wider sweet spot, less ghosting, and the image quality on these are fantastic. I'll go into that a bit more later on. 90 Hertz refresh rate is a little bit down, 120 up to 110 degree field of view. As I'll mention later on when I'm talking about the performance of these, I don't think it hits 110 very often at all. 128 gigabytes of storage, which is more than enough, I think, for just having some games on the wireless experience. Obviously you can also then connect it to your PC and have stuff stored on your PC, which I'll go into in a bit more detail shortly. 12 gigs of RAM. Now this does have an IPD dial, 54 to 73 millimeters. The Flow didn't have one if you've used the Flow before. It also has a diopter dial. So if you've got any sort of vision impairment, that's going to help out a lot. You're not going to have to try and squeeze glasses into there. 6 degrees of freedom inside-out tracking via 4 tracking cameras. So no base stations anymore, which is a big win. You got a Qualcomm Snapdragon XR2 processor powering it all. There's embedded speakers, there's dual microphones. The battery cradle lasts about 2 hours. Well, it says it lasts about 2 hours, and it actually does. Usually these guys, they advertise things when it comes to battery life that are miles off the mark, but here, you know what? I think they actually did pretty well there, got pretty close. The controller batteries, because these are the Focus 3 controllers, not the old kind of, I think they're called wand controllers that we were using on the Pro 2 and that. These controllers last 15 hours, so heaps of battery life there. It is Wi-Fi 6E enabled and Bluetooth 5.2 enabled, so you can connect your own headphones to this device and listen through them or get your audio through your own headset, but there is no headphone jack, which I think is a bit of a shame. I think they're probably, I know Bluetooth's the go, but there's still many, especially PC gamers out there who use wide PC headphones, so I think that's a bit of a miss there. Now I do want to talk a little bit about the box, which I do have here, because there's a couple of things worth noting about it. Number one, if you've ever got an HTC, if you've got the Pro 2 or the Pro 1 or the Cosmos, any of those boxes, they were huge. This time around, box is a lot more svelte. It's really well packed, and it's all sustainable material as well, which I think, again, it's one of those things that you may not be paying too much attention to, but we really should be paying attention to it. A lot of companies are working hard on it, and it's in the cost of what we're buying, so champion it. Sustainable packaging here. Now the box is missing one ingredient for mine. So you can see here I've got some of the key things, the controllers, the headset, which is in glasses mode at the moment, and the battery cradle, which will connect to this. I'll show you that in a bit. It's got USB cables in there, and USB-C to USB-A for charging these, and USB-C to USB-C for just plugging this into a PC to do your firmware updates and these types of things. What it doesn't have is a streaming cable. And when I was originally being taken through this by HTC, probably a couple of months before release, I swear they told me that it was going to be a 5-meter long streaming cable included in the box. And I've got that in my notes too, that I was taking at the time. So that's a bit of a swing and a miss, because you don't generally just have that length cable just hanging around the house. The longest USB cable I could find in my house, USB-C to USB-C, which was going to be good enough to deliver the performance here, was 2 meters, and that's still not quite long enough. That's not long enough to plug it into the back of your desktop, especially if your desktop's sit on the floor underneath your desk, and then get it all the way up to your head if you're walking around like this. And when I tried to game like that with that short cable, it was just a nightmare. I kept bumping it, it kept cutting out. It was at such an angle the whole entire time. So anyway, that's a bit of a swing and a miss for me. I really do wish that they had considered getting a longer cable, a specific streaming cable in the box with this setup. Now, let's have a look at the design. Now, the main kind of glasses unit, the whole device actually is pretty light. It's not too heavy at all. And I just give absolute props to HTC in their design, because every single headset that comes out improves somewhere. And this one really, in my opinion, improves dramatically. Like, obviously the Flow is a bit of a taster, and this is the next step up from the Flow, what they've learned from the Flow in terms of a smart glasses experience with the foldable arms and the smaller footprint. And they still managed to get all this great technology in there. And then they've just pushed that with what they've already learned from the Focus 3 to create an experience which is really comfortable and really light. Now the gasket, they've done a great job with this gasket. It comes off as easily as that, which gives you access to the diopter dials. So I'll just get that out of the way. The diopter dials, and also your IPD dial, sorry, which allows you to adjust the focus. Like I said, out of the box, I didn't even need to, and I do wear glasses when I'm using a computer, and I didn't need to. It was crystal clear. It was more crystal clear than my actual computer. The design of everything is real. The speakers are just in the frame. There's nothing that pops down like you might have seen on some of the previous HTC headsets. Here, you've got a soft cut. You can even see a little bit of my hair there. I'm going to talk about that in a sec. These are kind of a lot harder cushioning on the side, and it's okay. It actually clasps onto your head really quite well. You don't feel like it's going to fall off. But this design with like the rubber and then like the kind of crevice around it, if you've got long hair or curly hair like I do, it can take a chunk of your hair with it. So I'm not sure what they really can do about that. Maybe they just tell me to get a haircut, like everyone else. Now, in terms of the way that this system works, again, the design is so smart. So you just push a button there, and it unclips really quite easily. As I say that, I had it around the wrong way. So you push a button, out it comes. Now, these two bits then you don't need when you're in kind of the headset mode. This is only for when you're in glasses mode. So making sure you don't lose those is going to be a bit of the hassle. And then with this, it literally just clips straight in. So in goes there, and in it goes there. And then you connect that to get your USB power. So in here is where you're going to plug your USB into the PC when you're playing in wide form, or just to charge the battery pack, or to download firmware updates, those types of things that you might need to do when you're getting started. I'll go into set up a bit more later on. Now, the design of the actual battery pack has changed a bit from the Focus 3. For the Focus 3, it was kind of like a big soft padding, and you took the padding out and this battery could come out, so you could kind of like, it wasn't the whole back unit which was hot swappable, it was just the battery inside. This time, this thing's all one unit. And instead of having like this big cushion, they've got this really strong, hard, durable rubber. It actually reminds me of my flippers, kind of similar material to that. And it's actually, it doesn't look like it's that comfortable. It's actually really, really comfortable, and the whole thing is so perfectly balanced that on your head it fits perfectly. The only thing I don't like about this system is that sometimes when you're going off and on a lot, that kind of catches, and you'll put it on and end up like that behind your head, and you'll go, why is it so uncomfortable? So you really kind of got to get used to kind of doing that, and then unloosening the dial, getting it on and tightening it. But those kind of days, the days that you used to have with the VR headsets where you're spending a lot of time trying to get it just sitting comfortably, that's just over. Like these just actually it just sits there so nicely. There's no nose pain in here at all like you used to get, and it just adjusts really easily, and you don't have that button used to press to slide in and out either. That's gone. Now it does come with an optional head thing if you want to have just kind of the extra head strap for the extra kind of weight. I haven't actually felt a need to use this at all, so I haven't. But that is available to you should you want to kind of like have that kind of extra weight over the top. So that is something to consider. But overall, love it. Really well designed, really smartly designed, real premium feel, strong and well thought out. HTC, well done. With the controllers, I'm a little less enthused. So these are definitely better controllers than the wand controllers that we saw with the Pro 2 for sure, especially in terms of battery life, they're a lot better. And in terms of the way that the sticks move, it's very, very nice to the touch. It moves really, really well. And your classic button layout that you'd get from any modern console controller, it's all there. And as well as on the side here, and that's actually clickable. I don't know if you can hear it, but it goes click. So you got a little, like an extra little bit there, which is nice. Everything's kind of within reach okay, but it feels hard on the hand. It doesn't really sit there nicely, and it's slippery. Despite the fact it's got a kind of like pimpled plastic on it, it actually feels really slippery. And I can't believe how many times I picked these up and I held it the wrong way and went, oh, I mean this way, I mean that way, just trying to get it right. And there's just something about them that just doesn't quite work as well as I would have liked. In fact, you can see right there, I got it around the wrong way. So that's just, I'm not in love with these controllers, but they are definitely a step up from what you would have got in a Pro 2. But it doesn't have finger tracking, but the hand tracking of the actual headset itself, so you can just drop these all together and use your hands, that's actually really good. But the controller's not my favorite, but still a step up. Now, the one thing you do have to talk about when it comes to VR headsets, especially PCVR headsets, is the setup process. And geez, it's still not great. So yes, the base stations are gone. That was a fiddle and a hassle. They've definitely improved the software. They've definitely, like that communication with the software, setting up your room mapping, your play area, you're lowering your floor, all that kind of stuff has definitely improved. It's definitely a lot easier in that regard. And if you just want to jump in and just kind of play via Viveport, you can get into it pretty quickly, pretty easily. You've got your Viveport account login, you log in, you download a game, you play it. You can do that all, just in this mode here, running off the battery, and it's kind of like almost like a meta quest in that regard. But Viveport's pretty limiting. And while there are some experiences on it which are definitely good, like Green Hell's on there and Guitar Unplugged, and there are some decent experiences on there, it's nothing compared to the Steam library. And so you're really going to want to get to start playing this thing on Steam. And the setup process from there then just gets a bit ridiculous. And I must have spent hours on YouTube videos and in Reddit threads and so forth, just trying to get it all to work. And there's more than a couple of times where I almost gave up on it completely. Forget the mobile as well. Like you could actually pair the mobile with this theoretically, and put Netflix on your mobile and watch it through here or that. I couldn't even get it to pair. So I've got an Android phone. I followed the Android phone process. I did as much research as I could. It just wouldn't do it. I had Vive Manager app open, it got to the point where it was connecting, it knew it was there, but when you press the button, which is supposed to be the way that it actually pairs, it just flat out refused to work, and I could not get it to work, so that just didn't work at all for me. But going back to the PCVR experience, you have to kind of update and install something here, you have to have multiple things open on your PC at the same time, you have to have your internet, your PC connected by Ethernet cable, which, surprisingly, I didn't even have one anymore because everything just is on Wi-Fi now, including my desktop. And so I actually had to go find a cable, get all that connected, then get it all on the same Wi-Fi network, and it just didn't work so many times. It was such a kerfuffle. Eventually, it came up and went, oh, all of a sudden I had an extra option in the screen, and so much has changed since it came out as well that a lot of the video tutorials and things that you find aren't even relevant anymore. So you got to wade through all of that as well. And then when I finally got it working, it kept cutting out on me and jumping me back into Viveport and then back out to Steam and then back into Viveport, and I was like, what is going on here? Like, why can't I get this to work? And then all of a sudden, I don't even know what I did, but all of a sudden wireless was working. So it kept not showing my computer as existing anywhere, and then all of a sudden it just popped up and went bang, 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 and all of a sudden I'm sitting there playing wirelessly. So the setup process is just, you need to be too much of a tech head and really know your PC as well. I had to go, activate things in NVIDIA control panel and stuff just to get it to work. That it's just not friendly enough for your mainstream consumer. It's just this, for $2,000, you just shouldn't have to go through any of that. In my opinion, HTC has to do better there. It's still just too challenging to get the thing working. And like I said, I almost gave up a couple of times. I was just like, far out, I'm just gonna have to just wave this. I can't get it working. But you know what? Eventually I did get it working. And when I was sitting there playing Half-Life Alyx wirelessly on this device, and it was all working perfectly, it was fantastic. It was so good. HTC's best headset by a country mile. But just getting there, it's still too challenging. Setup's too much work, in my opinion. But just to get onto performance. So, like I just said, when it's working, it's really, really, really good. It's such a comfortable headset to wear. The tracking is great. The hand tracking is great. The way you pick up the controller and your play space, all that type of stuff works really, really well. The resolution in the screen is fantastic. Like, it's such a sharp, bright image. It reminds me a lot of PSVR 2. PSVR 2, when I first put that on, I was like, whoa, okay. I said at the start of this, the specifications don't always tell the true story. And the specifications for PSVR 2 don't really tell the whole story, because you look at it and you go, well, that's kind of under spec compared to what's already come out. But when you actually put it on and look at it, it's really quite excellent. This is a similar thing. You put it on and it's just boom, it's just so good. I found a sweet spot almost instantly. Like you can take the gasket off here and adjust all the dials and get into it. And to be honest, I basically didn't have to do that at all. Like, instantly I was just like, wow, I can read everything. Like, the text wasn't blurry, nothing was blurry. Forget all the kind of like fly screen effects and all that they're long gone. So visually, really, really good experience. Tracking and everything, the light bleed, there's no light bleed at all. The way that they've, I mentioned it in design, but the way that the HTC has come along with the design here is excellent. And it's perfectly black, perfectly encapsulated. The one thing I didn't like was I found it was quite periscoped, by which I mean that there's a lot of black around your eyes, and a lot more than I was expecting. And it advertises up to 110 degrees field of view. I played a dozen titles and I don't think it ever really got there. I've definitely had experience which have a wider field of view, and the black around your eyes is enough that it pulls you out of the experience, and that's the problem. The problem is that the black is enough that you're not immersed as much as you expect it to be. And that's not helped by the audio. So the audio is good. The audio that comes out of these it's good, in that you get that kind of stereo spatial sound out of it. It's clear. You pick up the sounds really quite well, like playing Half-Life Alyx, as I mentioned, the ambience and the kind of that classic Half-Life atmosphere. You're definitely in there. but it doesn't have any punch, and it doesn't have the volume or the bass to really suck you in and immerse you. So, you know, like the PSVR 2 has the kind of earbuds that go in. You've got the old HTC Pros and that with the ears that kind of come down over your ears rather than coming out of the side here, the arms. So I think you're probably going to want a Bluetooth headset on Bluetooth headphones on this to make the most of it. And it's all playing through your PC as well, if you're going through your PC. So that allows you to, you know, basically use anything you can use with your PC. Now, as I mentioned before, with the battery performance, it hits the mark. Really impressed. You can, yeah, if you're wearing it in glasses mode, which is without the battery pack, and you want to kind of plug it into something to kind of get that power, like a little power bank, the performance there was quirky. So it advertised, well, they told me when I was going through the briefing with them that you need at least 30 watts worth of power coming out of your power bank. Go as high as you can, because when it's not quite getting the right power, it just pops out, and you just can't enjoy the experience at all. It just it'll just die on you, and like you'll lose vision, or it'll just escape out into the menu, or something just quirks out. So that side of things the glasses mode's a bit quirky, because you've got to have this power bank and it's got to be somewhere, so you've got to need a cable down to your pocket. It's got to be long enough, but so the glasses mode's comfortable and it works and it's okay, but I don't like the power bank experience at all. With this on, however, the battery life was impressive, I thought. It advertises 2 hours. I reckon it got pretty close. I mean, depending on what you're playing, I guess, what you're doing, I spend a lot of time in menus, I guess, as well, and jumping between different products and walking around the hub space and just testing it out. If you were just gaming hard the whole entire time, it might get a bit lower, but that's still pretty good. And because it deactivates, if you've got the coin, you can buy a separate battery cradle that's charging. And it doesn't take that long to charge, actually, it's pretty good. And then just hot swap it out. And there's enough storage in this, theoretically, that the game won't turn off. You just flick these off, you know, you just detach the arms, which is as simple as just pressing a button and pulling like that. And just put in the next one. And off you go, and you keep gaming, and it shouldn't turn off, although I question how long this actually lasts. They reckon you get 10 minutes without this plugged in. I doubt that very much. I'd be very quick in doing that hot swap. Yeah, so that's my experience of the performance is that when it's working, it's really quite good. Now, when it's working is the key here. It bugs out. It bugs out too often. Like, you know, like I mentioned before, you just get black screens. If you're playing wide to your PC, it's very, very sensitive. You've got this little USB port up here. You got your cable in there, littlest bump, it jumps you out. Numerous times I had it just come up to the Vive logo, or sorry, the Viveport logo. It's loading and it's doing little lines going around it. Just kept doing that. It didn't go anywhere. I'd frequently just get jumped out. I'd be like, everything's working, and all of a sudden I would just lose connectivity, and I'd be jumped out of the experience, then jumped into Viveport, then jumped back out to Steam, and too many times it was just black. It's just a black screen. Audio's working, so you know it's on, but it's just black. And I think that's kind of power struggles. When this is fully charged and it's plugged in, that's when it's at its best. But as soon as that's kind of not the scenario, things start to wig out on it a little bit. And, you know, really at this price point, I'm not sure that's okay. Anyway, so those are my thoughts on the HTC Vive XR Elite. It's an excellent headset. I reckon it's HTC's best headset. And it offers, the design is incredible. The way that they put this together is just amazing. The visual experience is really, really good. And being able to play wirelessly and access my full Steam library of VR content was great. You know, really, really good. But the setup process and the fiddliness and the bugginess of it all just still makes it just a little bit too niche, I think, for mainstream consumers. And at that $2,000 mark, it's just not going to pull the general public away from the MetaQuest and the PSVR, the PlayStation VR 2 headsets of this world, in my opinion. And that's where HTC, I think, really needs to work out how to close the gap. They really need to either bring this price down and just resolve the issues that they're having, are just getting it seamlessly working all the time, doing what you want it to do. but when it's doing it, it's just so good. So I know that's probably not going to make it very easy for you to decide on whether you want this or not, but hopefully that's my personal experience with this product, and it's just so close to being so good. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I'm Chris Stead. Make sure you check out my other content on the channel to do with VR and my other reviews, and like I said, stay tuned because I will do some content on the price battle that HTC is facing and what needs to happen for these things to get cheaper, because they have filled me in on that. All right, cheers. I'll see you later. You.